You're a governor. So hold on. Look at the circumstance where you are. You should take the bull by the horn. Take steps. I told you here. Has anybody approached anybody?
So Governor Fubara hasn't called you on the line since his suspension?
I have told you, have anybody approached anybody? Now, let me tell you something.
Have you heard the parable of the prodigal son?
Let me tell you.
The father left those who listened to him and went to search of that only one that didn't listen to him.
No, that's not the prodigal son, no. That's not correct. When the prodigal son comes back and pleads, I said, look, forgive me. I've made a mistake. I want us to move forward. You are human.
It took Wike a few weeks to arrive at what he thinks is a perfect story, that when he tells this story, Nigerians will swallow it hook, line and sinker. But beneath this narrative, you will see the original intention of Wike. He didn't know when he betrayed the fact, when he communicated directly to Fubara to apologize to him and everything will go away. So you can see it is Wike's ego that is the problem. He wants Fubara to massage that ego. And because of Wike's ego, an unelected person is now in charge of Rivers State in a so-called democracy. This also betrays how desperate Wike has become. After all his rhetoric and bragging about having all the power, all the structures, everything, he has now descended so low to the level of begging Fubara for apology. Fubara, having not called Wike since the political crisis in Rivers State started, will not do it now because it has become obvious between them who is desperate. Fubara has not granted any interview since he was suspended from office. It's always Wike inviting the press and blabbing all the time. And going by his actions, you will see that he is the one that is very desperate. He desperately wants to be in charge of Rivers State. He wants to mend fences because right now all of them have lost. His people are not in power. Fubara is not in power. You can say the sole administrator represents Wike's interest, but his boys, the House of Assembly members that are loyal to him, are out of job, just like the governor of Rivers State. Also, it's very easy to understand why Wike is very frustrated. He got a judgment from the Supreme Court. Yes, the highest court in the land. He was expecting Fubara to call him. Oga, please, let's mend fences and move forward. What do you want me to do? I will do it now. Fubara never called him. Why should he, when it was obvious that the judgment was a perversion? Yes, a matter that wasn't before them, just because they have become very desperate. They wanted all the litigations to end. That was why they decided on a matter still stuck at the Federal High Court. So they couldn't hide their bias. Fubara still did not call Wike. Now, when he reached the stage to implement the Supreme Court judgment, of course Fubara announced it that they are waiting for the certified true copy of the judgment. Immediately they got hold of it. He said they will implement it. That was why he communicated to the State House of Assembly. Of course, you know what happened. They locked him out the day he came to present the budget. Wike was expecting him to still put a call across to him and say, Oga, please, can you call your boys to order? What are we going to do? Let's resolve this. Fubara still did not place that call. This one must have angered Wike. That was why the next thing they did was to declare a state of emergency. Despite that, despite being suspended from office, Fubara still refused to place that call across to Wike. Now they have become even more desperate because they know that the declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers is not popular. Forget about all the narrative you see on the Nigerian news media. It is not popular, so extending it will be very hard. In fact, it might turn people against them. So that's why he's trying to do what? Forcing Fubara to call him to come and massage his ego. This time he will now say, he has begged me. Okay, let's move forward. Let's do this, let's do that. So that he can declare a win. But Fubara is still refusing to place that call. You see, if you're progressive, it's very easy to pick a side between Fubara and Wike. Forget about members of the party in power. They actually have progressive in their middle name, but they are not progressives. How can you call yourself a progressive and you remove a democratically elected governor and House of Assembly members and install an unelected military man, when we have regions that are out of control, no police whatsoever, government presence is lacking in these regions across the Middle Belt where hundreds have been killed the past week alone. What about the Northeast, the Northwest? This is where you need to exercise your presidential power to turn things around for Nigerians, to effect change, to stop the insecurity. But no, because they are after money. Yes, there's no other reason they removed an elected governor. Because of that, they have installed a retired military man to be in charge of a state under a democratic setting. Wike will never understand why Fubara is refusing to do his bidding. He must be thinking, this money doesn't belong to this man. Bring this money, let's spend. But Fubara is refusing to budge. There are many ways he has shown that he doesn't want to go the way of Wike. Take for instance the internally generated revenue of Rivers State. It wasn't as if Fubara did anything new. He just exposed part of the IGR that was never declared to Rivers people under Nyesom Wike's administration. So you see, the difference in billions was going to someone's private pocket without Rivers people knowing about it. So if he wanted, he would have just continued the same way. After all, no one knew about it. He would have just continued where Wike stopped. Also, going by the way Fubara has been handling the whole issue, imagine an elected governor being removed from office. Imagine Wike is in that position, that it is Wike that someone suspended from office. The whole world would have heard about it. There would have been massive protests in Rivers State. He would be granting interviews on a daily basis, if not hourly basis. But Fubara has done nothing. In fact, he has kept mute all along, no interview whatsoever. What it means is that he's telling them that he's not desperate. Also consider the appointments. Someone that came on a mandate to secure the state, to secure federal assets in Rivers State, but he has now openly delved into politics. What's his business with political appointments? Yes, he doesn't have the mandate, but Fubara is not making any fuss about it. He knows that 6 months will come very soon and he will come back to office and reappoint his people into power.
As a politician, I'm not happy. I wanted outright removal of the governor. As a politician, I'm not happy. But for the interest of the state, the president did the right thing. But people must say the truth. The governor was gone. He was gone. Yes, he was gone. So when people say, President, I say, look, if that's where they should be worshipping, they should be worshipping Mr. President. Every morning go to President, can we wash your feet for saving us?
This false narrative again. He didn't save Fubara from any impeachment. In fact, they wouldn't have been able to impeach him. Not that they don't have the numbers, they do. But the Chief Justice of Rivers State is not on their side. And they tried to intimidate him. The House members tried to investigate something about him. They don't have the power to remove him from office. They even tried using EFCC or SSS, but all that fell to the ground. So they couldn't have impeached Fubara. All these narratives, they don't take anyone anywhere. They are just trying hard to justify the illegal declaration of state of emergency. Fubara was always going to win. That was why they changed the rules and introduced state of emergency in Rivers State. The blame for what is happening in Rivers State today goes to the judiciary. It's a pity the last hope of the common man is no longer for the common man, but for the corrupt and the wealthy. If the justices made their judgment based on facts, Wike and his men will no longer be in power today. Yes, they will be talking about a by-election, but instead, they looked at all the facts and tried to turn white to black in front of Nigerians. People that decamped on national television, they did everything to justify the fact that there was a crisis in PDP. They even swore to an affidavit in court confirming their decamp to another party, but all the justices could say was that the fact that they don't have any party card, you can't prove membership to APC. So this prolonged the crisis in Rivers State to the extent that they lost all the cards. No more cards to play. That was why they changed the rules and declared an illegal state of emergency and suspended everyone from office. That's why when they brag, master strategist, political structure, this, that, Wike made a very grave error by advising his boys to decamp to APC. The courts should have punished them for that, but instead they chose to do otherwise.